Hi everyone, this is Dr. Brown, and I just wanted to do a quick introduction to Maya 2026. So this is just going to be going over basic interface and um, primitive placement and stuff like that. The next video is going to go over polygon modeling, extruding vertices, and all that stuff. But this one's just to go over the interface. So if we look at Maya, we have our perspective window, and if we tap the spacebar, we can see all four, and just tap the spacebar on whichever screen you want to be bigger, and that'll make it full screen for you. Or not quite full screen, but you know. All right, so over here on the left side, we have our outliner. So the outliner contains everything that we drop in the scene. Okay, so anything I put in the scene will show up here, so it's very easy to select. Over here is going to be our modifier, where we get to actually change the attributes of the objects we put down. By using the channel layer, channel attribute editor, and the modeling toolkit. Okay. Up here we have our standard file and all of that stuff. And then of course, right here is the modeling. It kind of changes what tools you have available to you. So you can do like rigging, and you can see like that popped up. You can do animation, and it changes all these at the top. FX, right? So then we have particles and all that stuff. And of course, rendering. That's how we render out our good stuff. All right. So how do we put down primitives? Well, the easiest thing to do is to go over to your second toolbox here. And we have a bunch of different little tabs here that we can go through. We have curves, surfaces, polymodeling, sculpting, UV editing, rigging, animation, rendering, FX, FX caching, custom, XGen, mesh, motion graphics, Arnold, and of course Bitfrost. So if we just want to put something down, I'm just going to click on cube. And it's going to drop it right there in the middle of the screen, or in the middle of the viewport for me. Right there at 0, 0, 0 in the world coordinates. And then what we can do is we can actually change the input of this cube so it's bigger instead of just scaling it. So I can click on this polycube 1 here over here, and it has width, height, and depth of 1. So I can do, let's do 4, 4, and 4. There we go. That gives me a bigger cube to work with. So now let's go over the default movement tools and stuff. So if you select an object, you hit W, that brings up your move tool. Okay, your move tool just allows you to move the object around the environment pretty easily, right? So you can grab the Y, Z, or X axis, because I think in Maya Y is up. And then what you can do is you can actually use these to connect two directions at once, because trying to move in 3D space with a 2D input device like a mouse is kind of hard. So you don't really want to try to just grab it in the middle here and move it, because you can't tell if you're going above the platform, below it. You can't really tell where you're moving it. Okay. Our next tool is the rotate tool. So we hit E on the keyboard. Okay. And then we can simply rotate our object on all 3 axes, just like moving. And of course, Control Z is your undo. And then last, we have scale, which is R. Makes a lot of sense. It doesn't. All right, so now what we have is our scale, and it works the same way as move. So if I want to scale it just on red, I can grab the red axis, or X. If I want to scale it just on Z, grab the Z axis. If I want to scale it uniformly, I grab the middle. And then you can just move it around. So let's look at some of the different objects we have. So that was scale, move, and rotate, right? Those are the basic controls that you need in Maya. Now, let's put down like a donut. They call it a torus. Okay. So you can see that it has the same attributes as the cube, right? We can actually go into the inputs and change how big it is. We can change the radius, we can change the section radius, we can change how many subdivisions it has. And what subdivisions refers to is these cross lines here. Those are subdivisions. So that's how you get curves, is you have to have more and more subdivisions to actually curve an object. Okay, and so if you just increase this 25, you can see that the sphere got a little smoother. Now let's look at how we move the camera. So to move the camera, you're going to hold Alt middle mouse, and that allows you to rotate the camera freely. If you just want to select something, hit the Q key for just selection tool. Otherwise, it'll be on whatever the last tool you used is, which is fine. You don't want to get confused by switching to an object, and then all of a sudden you accidentally rotate it and you don't remember when you did it. So if you just want to make sure you don't move any object, you just hit Q to switch to your select object, to your select mode. Okay, so Alt and left mouse button rotates. Left mouse button selects. Alt and middle mouse button pans. So that pans the camera. And then you can zoom in and out with the wheel. Or you can zoom in and out with Alt right mouse button. Okay. And that's a very quick introduction to Maya 2026. So the next video is going to be going more in depth with how polygon modeling works, extruding, and all of that stuff. But this should be enough to get you started in Maya. I'm putting objects down at least. I hope you enjoyed it.